This happened 3 or 4 years ago in a small town in Illinois. I was living with my parents and my younger sister. I'm the middle child. This started happening when my grandpa passed away. My younger sister was really close with my grandpa. Every time we would go to Mexico, she would be with him all the time, helping him with his work. They had a special bond. Not that we didn't have any special bond with them either, but they just had a really good connection. She would go to Mexico as much as she could to see him. When he passed away, my sister was really affected. She was 13 or 15. It really affected her. She was diagnosed with depression. She would spend a lot of time in her room, never wanted to go out, always to herself. We had a party at a public park. She was very quiet and not really there. She wasn't feeling well, that her stomach was hurting, and she decided to stay in the car while me and my mom joined the party. I think it was about an hour. She's not coming out of the car. One of her older sisters came and told us she was crying, and we decided we should go home. I was the one driving. My mom was in the passenger seat, and my sister in the back seat. She was crying a lot. We're trying to make her feel better, trying to tell her to calm down. We were about to exit the park. She opened the door and jumped out of the car, which really freaked us out. It was running hard, and she just jumped out. We got off the car, and I started chasing her. She was running towards the trees. I didn't know what was going on. Maybe she was having a panic attack. It looked like she was trying to reach for something or following something. When I finally caught up to her, my mom also caught up with us. She was crying and saying he was there. She could see him. But we bypassed those comments and just tried to calm her down. I knew this had to do with my grandpa. We tried everything. We thought it was a panic attack, but she wasn't calming down. At the same moment, we saw a lady walking by. She asked us if she was okay, if she could help out. Everybody was looking at us and at my sister. The lady's like, "Hi, I'm from a church by the area. I could pray for her if you want. Maybe that'll help." The lady started praying for her. At the time, I didn't think prayer was needed. I thought it's just a panic attack. My sister still wouldn't calm down. I noticed when the lady started praying, my sister would scream a lot. When she would scream, it was a normal scream. Not screeching, but they were very strong screams. It wasn't my sister. She was in pain. I would notice when the lady would be praying, my sister would get really tense. When we tried to hold her down, she was super strong. We couldn't hold her down. Eventually, all my other family saw what was going on. They all came and tried calming my sister down. She would just be crying. She would keep sticking her hand out toward, pointing at something and trying to run. Eventually, she did calm down. We think the lady prayed for her. My family was really concerned. A lot of my family got really emotional. They'd never seen that. They've never seen somebody get like that. And her being so young, hard for us to see. But after that, she calmed down. We went home. She went straight to bed that night. It was her again. She was calm. And my brother-in-law, he's very religious. He's Christian. He wasn't at the party. They told him, "Hey, do you think you could come help our sister, teach her how to pray or just talk to her?" He came over. My sister was laying in bed, sleeping. She didn't wake up. We asked her, "Hey, what happened? What were you doing? Why were you crying so much?" She was telling us she saw a figure, and it looked like my grandpa. It was a black figure that had a hat. My grandpa, he would wear a hat every day. Every day. He would always wear it. My sister said it looked like his shadow. It was him. When she was at the park, she saw the figure in the tree. That's why she was trying to run towards the figure. It was calling her. After that, she doesn't remember anything. When the lady approached her and was praying, she couldn't hear anything. She couldn't hear what she was saying. Then the lady was telling her, say it with me, pray in the name of Jesus. She couldn't say the word Jesus, as something was blocking the prayers, blocking her from saying anything that had to do with Jesus. My brother-in-law helped her, and he was like, you need to start going to church, you need to start praying before you go to bed. A couple of days passed. We're about to go to sleep. It was only me, my sister, my dad, and my grandma. I heard my sister crying. Our rooms were together. I was hoping it wasn't that same thing again. I went over to her room. She was crying uncontrollably. I tried to calm her down. She seemed really, really angry, like really, really angry. And as I saw something fall out underneath her pillow, it was a photo of my grandpa. It was scrunched up, as if she scrunched up with her hand. I was like, what? She would never do that. All the things that she had with my grandpa, she takes care of them with her life. I started crying. I don't know how to pray. I don't know what to do. I called my mother-in-law. She's also very religious. I was like, hey, my sister is having another panic attack. Do you think you can help me pray or send me a prayer? Can you pray for her over the phone or something? I walked out of my sister's room and I was standing in her door. She was laying down on her bed crying, facing the wall. My mother-in-law started praying on the phone. She was telling me what to say. I was saying it in a really low voice. As soon as I started praying, my sister yelled at me, stop. But she said it in not my sister's voice. It was very strong, harsh, like angry. When she said stop, I felt something pushing me in the chest. Like when you get hit in the stomach, in Spanish, se te va el aire. Like they push you in the stomach, and that's how I felt. Something pushing me in the chest. It didn't want me there. When that happened, I ran out the house. My dad didn't believe in that stuff. He was like, call 911. She's not feeling well. I'm like, no, something in me tells me that this is not a 911 situation. I went on Google and it was like Christian church near me. I was texting with my other sisters during that time, telling them, I think my sister's having another one of those that happened like last week. I went on Google and looked up Christian churches, the first one that came up. I'm like, they're not going to answer me. It was 9 p.m. Surprisingly, they did answer. It was the pastor, the lead pastor. He was like, well, right now we're not currently here, but I will talk to two of the ladies from the church. I'm going to have them go over to your house. And I gave them my address, told them a summary of what was happening. For a couple of hours, nobody showed up. I was so freaking out. My sister, she wasn't crying anymore. I would keep checking up on her, sit on her bedside and pray in my head. She was facing the wall, not moving. Something doesn't feel right. My mom had a Bible in her room. I went to get the Bible and opened it. I started reading something random out of the Bible. And she turned around. She hit the Bible off my hand. Just whacked it out of my hand. I started crying uncontrollably. I'm like, the ladies are not coming. I don't know what's going to happen. Eventually, the ladies did show up. There was 3 ladies. They walked inside. I told them she's in the room. I said she wasn't crying anymore, just staring blankly in a creepy way. She's not reacting. She's not doing anything. I can sense my sister was not there. The ladies walked in. They were like, okay, can you get me a bucket or a bowl? Gave them a bucket. And they were like, stay out here. Don't go inside the room. They went inside my sister's room and closed the door. When they started praying, I started hearing my sister again, screaming, crying. It was in pain screams, like if somebody was injuring her. Then I started hearing her throwing up. A few minutes later, they came out and they were like, she's okay right now, she's calm. You guys need to start taking her to church. We start praying. She gave me the prayer that we should do for her if she gets like this again. In the name of Jesus, I'm covering you in his blood. Something like that. That's what they just told me to say.
En el nombre de Jesús, te cubro en la sangre de Jesús.
My dad still didn't believe in that. He was like, oh my God, like, how can you not believe in this after seeing how she got? Everybody was still hesitant whether it was a panic attack or something else. We would be sleeping in the living room. Me and my mom just would make sure her door was open. We didn't know when it would happen again. After that, we went to stay with one of my older sisters at her house. We were sitting downstairs, me, my older sister, and my younger sister. My younger sister went upstairs. She didn't know where. I told my sister, we should go check up on her. She shouldn't be alone. I went by myself upstairs. When I walked into my sister's room, my younger sister was on her knees, facing the wall, looking straight ahead and crying, really low, crying. I put my hand on her back. What's wrong? Are you okay? She was quiet, just kept crying, sobbing. I was touching her back. Her back felt really cold, very stiff. Not when you touch a person, petting them, you can feel softness. But when I was touching her, it felt like touching a rock. I started praying. My sister came. She also started praying for her. Just praying. A few minutes later, she was crying, but it was her. She was talking. We're like, what happened? Like, why were you crying? She was like, it wasn't letting me hear what you guys were saying. I'm like, what wasn't letting you? She was like, the figure, dark figure with the hat. I asked her, where is the figure? It's behind. I was like, what do you mean? Behind us? She said, yes. Me and my sister looked at each other. We were freaked out. We're like, what do you mean? She was just crying. Whatever this thing is, it takes over my sister. Moving forward, we would be with her at all times, constantly try to take her out, have her be involved in more things so she wouldn't be alone. This would happen when she would be alone. It would get to her when she was alone. After the third time, we'd start noticing she was back to herself. I do think after the third time, the ladies did make it go away. Whatever they did, it was more extreme. They brought more people, even somebody who had gone through the same thing. Till this day, we still don't know exactly what it was. The third time it happened, we were at my sister's house eating. Everything was fine. I noticed my sister was eating and then she just got quiet. Her eyes were blank. We were like, hey, are you okay? She was not responding to us. She was just staring into our eyes. We sat her down on the couch. My brother-in-law, my other brother-in-law, was trying to help her and like, hey, are you okay? At this point, I was so angry that whatever this thing was making my little sister go through all of this. I started praying, looking directly into my sister's eyes. As I was praying, she out of nowhere swung at me. She wanted to punch me in the face. Her hand almost looked robotic. Her hand was straight and she kind of swung. My brother-in-law tried to hold her down. My other sister joined. We started praying. Her face was motionless, and out of nowhere, she started crying. I could tell it was my sister. But it would switch back to that blank stare. You could tell when it was her and when it was not. She started gripping my hand really tight. And she would just be like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. Or like, what do you mean? What do you mean? She said, I can't do this anymore. And go back into the blank stare. Then back to her crying and saying she can't do this. We didn't know what to do. We called the ladies again, but they were not in the area. They were in Chicago or something for an hour drive from where we were. They told us they were going to try their best to get there on time, but it did take them a long time. When they showed up, it was the two same ladies from last time, but this time there was a really tall guy and his wife. They told me that guy had gone through the same exact thing. They did say that it was a demon. They kind of was that different types of demons. There's demons that control depression, and demons who control your self-esteem, anxiety, everything. The depression one was the worst one. They find something meaningful to you, someone that was close to you, and use it to get to you. Like in this case, whatever it was using my grandpa to get to my sister. They knew she was weak. It was an easy target. He said, on my way here, I had a vision of people dressed in black, wearing black cloaks. They were all in a circle. In the middle, there's a yellow dog. I never understood what that vision meant. When they were there, they took my sister to the basement. They asked my sister for the bucket and told us not to go downstairs. This time it took longer than the other times. A couple of, I would say, like 30 minutes. We see my sister coming up the stairs. She's herself again, normal, like nothing ever happened. One of the ladies asked me, like, do you know of anybody that would do something to your sister? I said, yeah. Something bad to my sister. I was like, not that I can think. She doesn't have any boyfriends or anybody that would do something on her. At the moment, we didn't know of anybody. My sister was really young. They told her she needs to start going to church every Sunday, take her out. And we did start going to church. She started to become herself again. She did start being more involved with us, going out with us. We wouldn't have to force her. Talking about my grandpa, before we couldn't do it. It would be a trigger. But now we can talk about him. She's fine. Right now, she's doing better than ever. We haven't seen whatever it was come back. I do think she had depression, and I do feel like it was something like a bad, I don't know if it was a demon entity, but I do think it was something using my grandpa to attach itself to my sister. Like, I really do think that it was something that was using that, because it knew that my sister was super close with him. Although all of this was really bad, my sister was also having dreams. They were not bad dreams. We had a brother. I didn't get to meet him. He passed away before I was born and before my younger sister was born. She had a dream about my grandma and my brother. In the dream, they told her not to worry, that everything was going to be okay. My brother told her in the dream that my mom was also going through some things during that time. And to tell my mom also not to worry, he was watching over her and was always going to be with her. My sister never met my brother, but she described him to the T. My mom was shocked, even though she was going through all of that. At times, there was something nice out of that. It just made us realize there is bad and good out there.